Anyone who uses the term woke at this point in history is a dishonest person. They don't lack awareness, they're not misguided, they're just lying. Perfect example is Carl Benjamin here, right? Whose YouTube career has peaked because the man stands for nothing. If you stand for nothing, eventually people give up on you. He tried his political career and it fell through. So he's back to doing useless YouTube videos. Now, is this woke activist 10 years later on? Activist, that's plural. He's only showing one in this video. And his issue, you'll see, is that this woman's lifestyle doesn't validate his garbage tradcon lifestyle. That's his issue with this, right? Well, let's get into this. And by the way, his video is way too long. It's 20 minutes long from just saying the same things over and over again.
Going on the 11th of April 2026 in Swindon. It's going to be huge. It's going to be brilliant. Link will be in the description. I'll see you there because I have some great stuff to talk about today. And you know what? You know what I love is when on a long enough timeline, the right wing perspective is proven to be correct.
No, dude, it hasn't. And what ticks me off too is this guy tries to claim he was liberal at one time. He was always a useless tradcon. Dude, you were a single man when you were just a nobody, and you had to gain fame and fortune to finally bribe some woman to pretend that she likes you for who you are. That's what being a tradcon is. That's the traditional conservative lifestyle. It's garbage.
Now, just to recap for anyone who didn't know, back in 2013, I started my YouTube channel because I was just against feminism. I was just like, this doesn't seem very liberal.
Well, it isn't liberal. Feminism is a hardcore right-wing authoritarian hate movement. That's why it doesn't seem, because it isn't. And notice, this is what I'm talking about, these grifters. This guy's a grifter. He took on the anti-feminist label because it was popular and it was building up his YouTube channel. And he dumped it as soon as it went by the wayside because he was never anti-feminist. You useless tradcons are feminist. I'm telling you that to your face. You're just a feminist. You're a male feminist. And of course, you're a grifter. You stood for nothing. I remember him saying, guys, once that he doesn't want to be anti something, he wants to be pro something, which was his way of sneaking out, his dishonest way of sneaking out and dropping label. Because that'd be like saying the civil rights movement, they were anti-racist. And who wants to be part of the civil rights movement? Because I want to be for something. Of course, we all know that the civil rights movement was for something. They were for the equality between the races. So being anti-feminist is for something. It's for the equality of the sexes. This guy isn't for that. That's why he dumped the label. He was never an anti-feminist.
This isn't very fair. Why should we be privileging one sex over the other? I thought we were going to arrive in the complete meritocracy where we're not going to judge people based on their race, based on their sex, based on, whether they're gay or not, blah, blah, blah. And I was there just living my life, just trying to be a normal person in the world. And I really didn't have any particular interest in politics.
Really, dude? Wow. So that's his spiel, everybody. But dude, you always came off as a racist to some degree, to be honest.
Or any of this stuff at the time.
You're definitely not for equality. If you're a tradcon, you're for an unequal relationship between men and women. The man serves, the woman benefits. That's the tradcon lifestyle. So you were never hoping for equality, ever.
I was trying to make a video game. And this kept invading the spaces I was in until it became just one of those things where I was.
Yeah, you're trying to build your status through making a video game because you weren't going to do it by getting a real job. And so, hey, you notice these women They were always invading our male spaces and bashing us. But you can't say women, right? You can't term it. You can't put it in those terms, those accurate terms. Can you? Women invaded your spaces and kept hating on you. Because if you put it in those accurate terms, you got to come to terms with the fact that women just don't like men and are actively seeking to harm us, right? A woman worshiper like you just could not bring yourself to say that.
I'd found myself unemployed. I'd left the job, and I was just like, I'm just gonna put on my old headset mic and have a ramble about why this feminism stuff seems unfair to me.
Yeah, you see, guys, he was unemployed and he was single. Then he became somebody on YouTube, and then some woman accepted his bribe. That's his whole lifestyle, his garbage lifestyle.
I was very, very naive and very charitable to it at the time, and I love seeing the way that things have developed in that intervening 13 years, and the way I'm very happy with my own development.
It is coincidental. I actually started watching YouTube in 2013, so he and I got on at the same time, right? But he's laughing like things have gotten better. Things have only gotten worse for men. Now, a CAD, in your country, there are no staring laws for you guys in the transit. There was a woman in Parliament trying to make a 6 o'clock curfew for you. Shouldn't that be your major concern? Of course not. Because you actually support this thing. You're a feminist. All you care about is if things are doing all right in your personal life. No one else matters.
But I also love seeing the development on the other side of that, because it's nice to be proven right, right? It's just lovely to be proven.
You weren't proven right, dude. I'm being proven right. All you're saying is you've got a shit lifestyle. Your tradcon lifestyle is garbage for men, and you want it validated because you want your life choices validated. So that's why he's going to bring up this one single activist. Remember, he says activist with S, but he only brings up one, right?
Right, over and over and over. Because I did the
Over and over and over, but you only bring up one person, right?
hard things. I went and set up a media company. I did a couple of degrees. I became a husband, a father, multiple times. I pay a huge amount of tax.
Multiple times. So you're just a stupid tradcon. You didn't learn the first time. You guys bribe a woman to your life. She dumps you, then you work your status up to bribe the next one. Now, how long is this one going to stay with you? Till she gets tired of you.
Like I feel like I've done everything I'm supposed to do, and I'm healthy as far as I know. God.
Really? Did you stand up for your rights as a man? Like when they want to make that curfew for you guys in England, did you stand up against that? No, you didn't do shit. Because you're a do nothing. You don't stand for anything but your own self, what do you call it? Your own self-interest. It doesn't matter if the other guy suffers, right? Also, you worship women. So if women want something, if they want to punish you wrongfully, you just accept it.
God willing, touch wood. I'm happy. Everyone around me seems happy. And
There you go. There you go. I'm happy. That's all that matters, everyone. Now, this guy's going to try and paint himself as a good person, but this is all that matters to him.
There's a lot of work, there's always a lot of stress, but I feel like I've done the right thing by
A lot of stress. How can there be a lot of stress if everybody's happy? No, there's a lot of stress to you. because you're the one who's always paddling in the water while your wife is laying down on a raft in the water.
To be as virtuous as I can and not just indulging in vice, right? Just not just wallowing in vice.
When he says virtuous, what he means is he's going to he's going to grovel to women. That's what he means.
And on the other side, we've got other examples of people going in their own directions. And one of those people is Lindy West. Now, if you are an old head like me,
See, this is the one person he's bringing up, right?
that name might ring a bell. You haven't heard that name in a while. Lindy West. Yeah, she was a Jezebel writer back in the day when Gamergate was going on.
Yeah, Gamergate, you were part of that, and it was shit. It felt you were a bunch of woman worshiping tradcons, and you got nowhere. You actually begged with feminists to be nice to you. You begged your opposition to be nice to you. You're a bunch of freaking laydowns. What a bunch of wimps.
And she was a fat pride activist, as you can tell. And she wrote a book called Shrill Notes from a Loud Woman.
No, now notice this woman. She has nothing to offer society, but she got to write articles for a man-hating rag. See, that's female privilege. That's what we lack, Carl. That's what you lack. You had to work. You had to grift to get your wife to join you in your lifestyle. This woman was just handed it to
her. I mean, do you want that to be a legacy? Hello, I'm fat and loud and annoying on the internet. Yes, please buy my book.
Yeah, you're trying to pretend, this is what's that meme guy where the NBC has a smiling face, but he's crying behind the mask. This is what it is. Dude, she got everything she wanted. Right? You're trying to tear down her lifestyle. He's supposed to be a virtuous guy, but he's actually tearing down her lifestyle because he wants his life choices validated.
West's memoir is full of wild, joyous vulgarity and ranges from body images to rape threats to puberty and love for her husband. Oh, okay. Very interesting.
Love for her husband. See, these man-haters, they get men, no problem. Not you, oh, cad. You had to work for yours. You had to work for your fake love.
If you're part of a particularly niche audience back in 2016 when she published this.
She's not a niche audience. Women saying that they want to do whatever they want, whenever they want, that's not niche. That's every woman.
But she was really just, I mean, you forget how radical these people were.
No. These women are not radical. There's nothing radical about saying, I'm privileged. I want my privilege. I want my entire lifestyle validated. There's nothing radical about that. That's just what women want.
I mean, still are. But you forget how much of a break from common sense morality that these people took.
There you go. Morality, right? There's nothing moral about your lifestyle, Carl. There's nothing moral about grifting the other guys and mate guarding, right? And worshiping the opposite sex who hates your guts. There's nothing moral about that. You are not a moral person. You're not a good person. You're just a grifter who's made terrible life choices and you want it validated.
For example, she was the author of the hashtag Shout Your Abortion because of course she had an abortion. Of course she's proud of the fact that she had an abortion.
Of course, she's celebrating privilege. She's celebrating her power over life and death of other people. Why wouldn't she?
And of course, she wants to chip away at stigma, lies, and the climate of shame. It's like, yeah, but you're murdering a baby, your own baby.
Look, dude, if your wife your current wife, decided she was going to get a abortion, you would support her because she would just put her foot down and say, I'm doing it, and there's nothing you could do about it.
You chose to become pregnant, and now you're murdering the baby that's produced. Like this, I remember at the time, shout your
You have no rights in your relationship between your wife. So if she wanted an abortion, you would have to accept it. Wouldn't matter if you considered it immoral.
abortion was just a horrible thing. You know, and again, this 10 years ago I was a liberal, but like I still
You
wasn't.
were never liberal, dude. You were always a right winger. You were just wearing the mask because you thought that would get you the views. You were always a dishonest
Like, yeah, I was won over by the Hillary Clinton safe, legal, and rare, as in only in the worst circumstances should a woman get an abortion. They're like, no, abortion.
Why are you mentioning Hillary Clinton? Like whether you are liberal or conservative has nothing to do with particular individuals, right? So he's really saying this is both Republicans and Democrats, right? He's one of those endless partisan, you know, I'm screwing it up, but he's one of those endless warring partisans, right?
Birth control, and we're proud of it. We're going to set up hashtags, shout your abortion, because we're so fucking proud of doing this. And it's just like, okay, man, I mean, that was just one of those things that was like, yeah, no, I'm going to the right. Sorry, I'm
No,
not.
you were always right, you liar. You were always a right winger. But it doesn't matter because the left wing is women worshiping, and so is the right. So you're all the same to us.
I've realised what being a hands-off liberal has done, and this is it. This is the sort of thing.
That would suggest that you're a hands-on right winger, but you're not hands-on. What have you ever done politically to fight against abortion? What have you ever done to fight these women? You've never done anything. So you're not hands-on.
This is produced.
You are a cowardly do nothing.
No, clearly we need authority and morality to guide society, because if not, this is the kind of thing that you get. And
But they do have authority. Women have authority in society. That's not working out well, is it? And all he means by morality is my lifestyle. That's what he means by morality.
at the
You have no rights in your relationship with your woman, dude. How is that moral? She wants to ditch you and make you pay child support. How's that moral anyway?
time, I thought this was just funny.
It's moral because those are the choices he made, and he wants his choices validated.
Because I didn't think it was going to really go anywhere. But then it started becoming evident that no, what's been produced in the universities has been disseminated out to the institutions of society, and this all accumulated.
Yeah. So university is one of the pillars of society. The fact that it infiltrated showed that men wanted it infiltrated. These ideas are so bad. How come they were accepted so readily? Because men pander to women. They give them what they want. So these women came in with their anti-male rhetoric, and the men in the university said, sure, whatever you want, whatever you want. And it didn't really eke into society. It was always there. Because men pandering to women is universal.
In around sort of 2020 with Black Lives Matter, where you just had the full spectrum dominance of woke across culture, across all.
Not woke, feminism. Black Lives Matter is a feminist controlled party. So again, this dishonest person, because he's a liar. He's never going to be honest. He wants to hide the feminist under the woke shield, right?
Aspects of culture. But then, of course, this sort of thing starts petering out because
Women's dominance petering out since when? If anything, it's just becoming more and more obvious. So what he just said here is blatantly untrue.
itself is not wholesome and generative. And so it becomes evident
See, his shit lifestyle, everyone, that's wholesome. Right?
that this is actually a form of excess that is taking control of society, the Slaneshi reign of society. And actually,
But only the women are being excessive, are they? Right? They rule. You drool. So this is a begging video, right? Girls, you're having the time of your life. You're in control of everything, but can't you see it's bad for you? So please, like, adopt my lifestyle. Don't sleep around with other guys because I don't like other guys. I want to cock block them, right?
most people don't want to be ruled by these kinds of people. And I really mean like
Bullshit. These kinds of people are women, and you love being ruled by women. That's why you work for your wife. That's why you had to build your status as a YouTuber before she finally said, yes, you're working for her, dude. And you do want this. This is your lifestyle. This is your life choices.
when I say these kinds of people, there's a certain cohort of millennials that they're in their 40s now, and they were
There he is, more blaming of the other generation. Dude, women in the 1960s were involved in second wave feminists calling men pigs. That was the boomer generation. Who are you to go on about the millennials?
totally one-shotted by all of this when they were in their sort of 20s, late 20s, early 30s, completely one-shotted by it because the money was flowing in. Like they had patronage from whoever, the Soros or whatever, whatever like woke billionaires were spending all their money on, like
Not woke billionaires. They were men pandering to women. That's what they were. You dishonest person. And men were only one-shotted because they couldn't see what was going on. Men have to put their heads in the sand in order to have relationships with women. All that happened here is the women took the mask off. They said, hey, we pretended to like you in the earlier generations. We're no longer pretending. Men have no excuse for being one-shotted. Just means men are pathetic.
pumping up all of the sort of millennial startups, the BuzzFeeds, Vice, Vox, all those sorts of types. Jezebel, one of them actually. Gorka. Gorka is the
Yeah, all the feminist man-hating rags, they did really well for themselves, didn't they? Because man-hating is universal pretty well. It's part of the human psyche.
thing I was thinking of. And these people were paid with this sort of influx of money to be insane woke ideologues.
No, 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 no. These are just women showing their female dominance. And the pay's neither here nor there. They would do it for free. I mean, why do you think so many of these companies go tits up? Why do you think people say Disney's on its way out? Because women don't care if they burn things to the ground. It's not about the money. Never was.
It became their entire worldview. They're like, no. This is like the
Not became. Women have always saw men as beneath them, and they always wanted to dominate us. Again, that's why you work for your wife, dude. And when she feels like dumping you, she will. And there'll be nothing you can do about it.
core of what I believe, and that's great when the wind is in your sails, but when it's not, well, you're left.
When is it not going to be in their sails? Women have dominated society and men since the dawn of time. It's never let up. See, this is coping. These tradcons, they're dishonest people and they're coping all the time. Some days something will self-correct and women will just treat me better, right?
Left carrying the baggage of that. And also, you're left carrying the baggage of your life choices when they don't make any sense. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a minute. So she just, I mean, you can find an article from her about.
If you don't have anything nice to say it in all caps. Yeah, right. She's just being honest about her hatred of men. Right. I find it refreshing, actually. Not immoral. I just find it refreshing to hear some honesty. I wish I could hear some from you.
Virtually everything. Obviously, she's against internet anonymity. Obviously,
No, she's not. She's for doxing men. That's what she's for. That's just what this is about. See, I know how to frame things, but I'm also willing to frame it. You aren't.
she wants to save free speech from trolls, as in she wants you banned from saying what you want to say in.
You guys, yeah, exactly. She wants he to have no voice. Women are struggling to silence men's voices. And you're simply helping them out with your dishonest take about this.
Obviously, she wants herself promoted. She promotes political correctness, just openly saying, no, I'm for political correctness. And this is...
Political correctness is just attacking men. Right. It's placing restraints on men's freedom. Everybody, this is how you frame the issue.
Dovetails with her censorship, calls for censorship, which is, it's just, if you are allowed to say the things you say, they aren't going to say the things they want to say, and therefore, you're not allowed free speech. It's like, but
these right-wingers, they all want to pretend they're for free speech. Sargon of Akkad, or Carl here, he's not for free speech. He would silence another man's voice in a heartbeat. He just pretends he wouldn't. He's the immoralist.
That's a choice on your part, and would be government action on the other part. But anyway, like I said at the start, she was...
All that's going on here is these guys get their voices silenced by women because they worship women. They can't fight back. And so all they can do is make these begging videos saying, hey, look how unfair it is, right? You can't silence my voice. I'm for free speech. Anyway, let's get into the one woke person he's talking about. And this is very revealing because this woman actually dunks on his life choices. That's what he's upset about.
Fat activist, as in... And there's one thing, don't be mean to people who are excessively fat, obviously. Although fat shaming did cause me to lose a lot of weight, and I've never...
See, there you go, guys. Like, this is how anti-male is. He says, it's all right for men to be fat shamed, but not these women who I worship. So what he's really saying is, don't attack women. I love them so much. Including this fat man hater who would lynch me in a heartbeat. Dude, why would I listen to the words of an addict?
Used Ozempic, by the way. And this seems all the more untenable in the era of Ozempic, doesn't it? But this was a decade ago before that was available. But my wedding was perfect and I was fat as hell the whole time.
Yeah, that's a brag. Unlike you had to lose weight once you got with your wife, dude. She didn't have to. She could remain a fat ass and have a husband. That female privilege, that's something only men can only dream of.
Aham? Sorry, her husband is called Aham. Weird convergence of nominative determinism. Anyway. So she is interested in abolishing the stigma around unhealthy lifestyles, right? This is the point. Now, there is a stigma around...
But her lifestyle is healthy. She got everything she wanted. It's your lifestyle that's unhealthy, where you're just continually working while your wife leeches off you.
Unhealthy lifestyles because there are actual consequences for being unhealthy. Now, I think that these things, when you get to that sort of side, are a choice.
But notice, I thought in this video, I watched it all. She didn't die of a heart attack. She didn't get some deliberate, I'm screwing the word up, some disease that harmed her. So what is this guy talking about?
Right? You are choosing to eat too much. You are choosing not to exercise enough.
Right.
And I'm not saying this is, I've still got a bit of fat on me, but there are there are layers to this. But also there's okay, fair enough. If you've eaten way too much, you put on a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's good for you, right?
So what? Again, she didn't die of a heart attack. She got married. Some guy said yes. Men take what they can get. What can I say? Hey, your wife, your current one, came with children, right? And you had to listen to guys, other tradcons call you cock. Carl, you took what you could get. That's all this guy did.
Doesn't mean you should.
How is he different from you?
Do that, and that doesn't mean you should be an example to others. And that activism, that advocacy, is actually destructive to other people. But anyway, she got married to a ham, and 10 years down the line, we've had an update on that from Louise Perry, who's a good sort of reactionary woman's writer. She's really good.
If she's a woman's writer, she's against men's rights. That's what women's rights mean. So she's a bad person. She's not a good person. That's like saying this member of the KKK, he's a really good person. He's one of the better ones. Right?
Follow her on Twitter or whatever. She's really decent.
No, she isn't. She's a man-hater.
And this is a great article. Now, as you'll see, I don't have an account for the Wall Street Journal, so I have to go and find clips that people have put on Twitter of it. But it's a really, really nice thing to have an update on how those...
You see, guys, he's not going to pay his hard-earned money, or his easy-earned money on getting, an account for the Wall Street Journal.
Life choices matter and how they have worked out for the people.
There you go. This is about life choices. This woman's life choices make a mockery of his life choices. This guy, this woman worshiper, doesn't care that he lives in a feminist shithole that is stripping him of his human rights just because he's male. That's not what he cares about. It's just having his crappy lifestyle validated.
Doing them. As you can see, progressivism destroys its most loyal servants. Lindy West...
But they're not progressives. Again, feminism is a regressive hate movement. So true progressives, like myself, we're not destroying ourselves. I'm for actual equality between the sexes. That means women have to lose their privilege. Something that you're not against, dude. You're not against this woman losing her privilege. You just want them to treat you better.
I thought polyamory was less oppressive than monogamy, and it ruined her. Well, let's see. Now in her 40s...
No, it didn't ruin it. What it is her husband had options. And it's usually the other way around. When these women are in, if they're swingers, the husband has a hard time getting a new woman or getting a side woman. But the wife has all these guys lined up. When that happens, that same woman will say, oh, that's a great thing. Just that it wasn't working out for this woman because she didn't want to lose any weight.
Miss West? Isn't it Mrs. West?
Well, she didn't want to put the work into losing weight. That's why.
I mean, I don't know if, who knows? I have no idea, actually, whether she's taken Mrs. I mean, that'd be pretty patriarchal, wouldn't it? Maybe.
Of course, she's not going to take Mrs. because that would signal that, one, she's taken and she wants to be able to sleep around. But two, it also would suggest that she actually valued a man. Her man is just a servant to her. He doesn't have any value to her as a person. Just like you're not valuable to your wife, dude, as a person. So that's what she's signaling.
It's just Lindy. Anyway, Miss West has done everything that the Progressive Political Project told her to. She still refuses to lose weight, rejecting her doctor's offer of GLP-1 medication, which I assume is Ozempic, despite the suffering caused by her obesity. She stamps on any sign of conservative thinking in herself and others. There was a guy called, was it Arthur Chu, who had posted on wherever, Facebook or Twitter or wherever, this thing about how he mind kills himself. As in, he has doubts, he has thoughts that are not woke and progressive, and
he's a typical man, having doubts about his relationship with his women. That's what he is.
Actively controls his own thoughts to destroy them. And weirdly enough, Harry did.
Yeah, guys have to do that. You have to do that. You have to pretend that your wife likes you for yourself, even though she didn't go near you until you became somebody on YouTube. All men have to do this. All men have to put their heads in the sand if they want a relationship with a woman. It wouldn't be bearable otherwise.
A book club on James O'Brien's books, and in one of the books, James O'Brien had exactly the same thought process. He was, I know, sometimes I see things, I think, oh no, that's not good. And then I realize that's the reactionary me who needs to be killed off. I need to fight myself from observing reality around me because it's counter-progressive. And of course, Lindy.
Well, it's not counter-progressive. It's counter-personal contentment. He's content being a servant to a woman, but he can't think of himself as being a servant to a woman. He's got to think, he's got to believe in his heart that they're equals. Right?
Does the same thing. She's made her activism her identity, refuses to engage with people outside of her political subculture. She even avoids spending time with her extended family because they have unknown politics. It isn't that they actually disagree with her, it's that they might. That's brutal. That's
Oh, by the way, he's going to tell us that her father was willing to pay her way. This is how much men pander. So this young woman, she just says, Dad, you're not good enough for me. You don't obey me in every way. And Dad's still willing to pay for her, right? He's willing to take care of her.
Absolutely brutal. Like, what a destructive thing. Like, you know, but by the way, right, just to be clear, looking at myself from being a liberal and then Lindy West as being like hyper liberal, and
you're not liberal and she's not hyper liberal. There's nothing liberal about a conservative. Conservative, you tradcons. You keep men in our gender roles. There's nothing liberating about that. Nothing.
the divergence, whereas I've gone to the right and she's obviously carried on going
You were always right, you liar. You were never a left-wing man.
Further left. I just want to be clear, right? It is your relationships that make your life worth living, right? With the people around you, nurture your relationships. Be caring and loving and considerate to the people you're with and help them out. Spend time with them, have fun with them, and that's what they will enjoy and appreciate about you.
This is gibberish. Just a minute, I hear the phone calling. Back.
That's what makes your life worth living, I promise you. Like this will
So how could you live that good lifestyle when the people in your country are trying to strip your rights away as a man? Like Carl, if you happen to be on the transit, hey, there's a no staring law in the British transit. If you're in the transit, all of a sudden some woman decides she doesn't like the look of your face. She says you were staring at her. What are you going to do about it? You say these women were always invading your spaces, right? How can you live your life as a man contentedly when you have the sword of Damocles over your head all the time? Well, you have to do what you said this guy did. You have to continually mind brain yourself or whatever you said there, right? Mind trick yourself.
I don't know if they politically agree with me, therefore I must never talk to them, is cancer. It's absolutely evil. Miss West's previous memoir included a Pacific Northwest version of a fairy tale ending, with our heroine marrying, a Hameful J. Ulu. So his name's not just Aham. A musician and artist who nowadays identifies as non-binary.
You know why he does that? Because he was in a group where the women demanded it. Men give women what they want. So this guy, he found out the women wanted to for him to say he was non-binary, so he did. Just like your wife wants you to be a workhorse tradcon. If your wife today decided that she wanted you to be non-binary, you'd be saying so tomorrow. You'd be coming up tomorrow, Carl, and saying, guess what, everyone? I'm non-binary. You know, that's what you do.
Wedding was perfect, she said in her 2015 column. I was fat as hell the whole time. In Adult Braces, which I assume is her new book, we learn the reality of this relationship wasn't perfect. They were at odds from the outset, particularly on his insistence that he be permitted to sleep around or to use the vocabulary of their subculture, be a polyamorous person. Their marriage.
Yeah, this male feminist joined up, and he wanted the benefits of being a male feminist. He held these women at their word.
Had been accompanied by a lot of crying, panic attacks, and endless therapy. I mean, that is just remarkable, isn't it? That is just remarkable. You got married, which I would have thought was a patriarchal institution you want to reject anyway.
It isn't patriarchal. It's matriarchal. Marriage is where a man has no rights and the woman is in control. How is that patriarchal?
To someone who demands that he still be able to play the field, basically.
He didn't demand anything. He just coaxed her. He advocated for it. And she didn't know how to not look like a hypocrite by saying no. And actually, she wanted to sleep around too, dude. It's just that because she didn't want to put the work into losing weight, she didn't have the same options as he did, right? He had options. She didn't. All she had to do was lose weight, and she could have played the field like crazy. But she preferred to be fat than deal with work.
And for some reason you went along with this. I'm not even going to speculate why.
You know why? She didn't want to look like a hypocrite in her own crowd, in her own circles. She didn't care about her husband. He's just a lowly male servant. She was worried about what the other women in her social circle would think.
And this has not been good for you, right? This has not been good.
There you go. Hey, this has been good. Here's this one woke activist, right? This one feminist, right? It didn't work out for her. Dude, all the slim, pretty women, feminists, it works out great when they swing. Because it's their husbands that struggle to get a side piece. Well, there you have men lined up for them. So you're latching onto her in the desperate hopes that, women will treat you better, right? They'll choose your crappy lifestyle. And by the way, guys, this is anti-male. Because all he's saying is, if you women are spreading yourselves out to other men are gaining contentment. Other men are getting a peace. That's what he's a stupid mate garter. He's a hostile mate garter.
And so actually, the right-wing traditional view of what relationships are and what marriage ought to be turns out to be the correct view.
No, dude. Your shitty lifestyle is not correct in any way or form. You're working for a woman where she has all the rights and all the power. That is a shitty lifestyle. See what I'm talking about, guys? He has a crap life, and he wants everyone to like validate his personal life choices. He doesn't even care that politically women are struggling or working, I should say, to take the rights away of men. He doesn't care about that. He only cares about his own personal self-interest. Sargon of Akkad, or I should say Carl Benjamin, made these life choices, and they have to be the right life choices. So let's drum up this one fat feminist that didn't get her way to try and make my crap lifestyle look good.
And your continual emotional pain seems to bear that out. All of this radical left wing nonsense that was, oh no, all of these were just
They're not, it's not left wing. Again, this is just female desire. And women are not left wing. Your wife isn't left wing. She's got a traditional working man. Women are 100% traditional when relationships are concerned.
prejudices. They were just stigmas that were brought unthinkingly from the past, from a darkened, morally deficient age. Turn out
You see, people don't live my shitty lifestyle. They're morally deficient. Just a minute.
not to be the case. They turn out to actually have had a point. There was something about the human condition that these prejudices actually spoke to and solved problems for. I mean, I can't remember.
Really? So what problems have they solved? Again, there was a woman in British Parliament. I forget her name, right? She was pushing for a 6 o'clock curfew for you. So how's your shitty tradcon lifestyle preventing that from happening? That's a real problem. It doesn't stop it at all. Matter of fact, it endorses it.
Who it was that said it. But, you know, that whole tradition is the solution to a series of problems we forgot we had really seems to be true, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is all it is. I don't need to go through the last. This is an overlong, groveling video where this tradcon bum, whose whole concern is that his life choices, which are garbage, need to be validated. And he's begging women to hop aboard, and they're anti-male. His choices are anti-male. It's like, I don't want a harem of women, even though I do. I don't like the idea of other men like sleeping around and getting easy sex with women. So I want this shitty lifestyle where a man is chained as a servant to a woman. And the only thing he gets out of the deal is she might not sleep around. She might not give pleasure to other men. This is pathetic. You are a dishonest grifter, Carl. And you're pathetic too. Like, this is all you have to work for in your lifestyle, in your life, is to try to claim that your lifestyle is worth something. Totally pathetic.